Hi, my name is Keith, and I'm known as a Florida Stone Man, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about chakras that might affect your spiritual gifts being blocked. Now, I'm helping a good amount of people right now open their gifts with crystals that they get from me, and I do have more really rare crystals on my website coming to the website in the future. It just can be a challenge to get some of them, because once I get them, they go as fast as they come. So, for the people who have been working with literally all of the crystals for the third eye or all the crystals for the crown, and they're like, what's up? Like, why can't I telekinetically, like, why can't I telekinetically operate on a fundamental level? No, I mean, certain crystals do help with stuff like that, yeah. But I'm talking to you right now specifically about other general gifts, such as, because I'm not going to be talking about those advanced gifts on my YouTube channel. I'll be talking about the general ones, because I think that's the best thing to be teaching people. Oh, by the way, if you have not noticed, I'm starting to replace some bracelets. It could be, we'll see where this goes, because I have a design that's coming, and it's actually relating to my clear quartz video, because I found out it's the most powerful crystal. I mean, there's other most powerful crystals, but clear quartz is the most powerful crystal ever, if you know how to properly program it, which people are not going to be able to know how to do that by themselves, because a lot of people can't focus the intention into the stone. It's kind of like you're focusing an intention by a flint box, like a tinder and flint box or whatever they call it, and you're trying to start a fire. If you've never started a fire before, then that's going to take you a second. Same thing, but once you really activate clear quartz, it becomes the most powerful crystal, and it can mimic other crystals and so much more. But this video is talking to you about what other chakras can block your spiritual gifts. Let me talk to you right now. If you don't address your root chakra, because people want to focus so much on the higher chakras, people are like, I'm gonna open my third eye. I'm like, well, what have you done to work on the root? And forgive me if I say that the chakras out of order, because yeah. So I'm like, have you worked on the root? Have you worked on the sacral? I'm actually gonna make it an effort to not say them out of order, just to not confuse people. Have you worked on the root? Have you worked on the sacral? Have you worked on the solar plexus? Have you worked on the heart chakra? Have you worked on the throat? And they're like, no, and no. I'm like, well, how do you expect? Because remember, the entire body is like a tree. We have the root, which is literally the roots, and then we have the crown, which is the top of the tree. You can think of my hair like a tree. So this is the leaves and the branches. I don't know, what would you call this? If I was a tree, I would be a sequoia. I don't know. I might make videos about that in the future, but in the future I will be talking more about just different ways that you can connect your spirituality to plants and stuff like that, because I've taught about that in the past, but I will talk about that in the future. But let's just talk about the analogy with the tree. And I think it's a really good analogy, because people are like, oh, well, I haven't worked on my root chakra, and I haven't worked on the sacral chakra, and I haven't worked on the solar plexus chakra, and you're wondering why the energies have not moved upwards. It's because if they just sat there, and you probably didn't resolve blockages of your lower chakras, especially if you're someone who's had a lot of trauma when you were younger. Ooh. Well, if you're someone who's had lots and lots and lots of trauma when you were younger, or if you're someone who's just had trauma in general, it sometimes can get locked in the root chakra. So working with black crystals will literally, and then working with a crystal like obsidian is a miserable stone to work with it when you first start working with it, because if you have lots of trauma and you work with obsidian, it's releasing everything, and it's so brutal, especially when you move it on different chakras. It will be brutal, but it will release whatever's blocking your gifts by force, and it's horrible. It's just, I mean, if the worse the blockage, like, you might cry and scream and knock things over and yell and just not be a fun person, but then after it's released, it's not coming back. It's like a thorn you pulled out because it was so deep into your energetic system that skin grew over it, and it's blocking you. It's flat out blocking you. Now, if you have a misaligned root chakra, and remember, that's your fight or flight center, so basically, it's the chakra that helps you deal with situations. When something crazy happens, are you going to run away? Are you gonna start fighting? So if you do have a root chakra problem, you might notice yourself getting into more fights often, combative with people. What else? Just you run away to everything. Like if something's kind of off, you just bolt. You run. You try to run no matter what. Like you just flee. You don't have the courage necessary to even stand in the presence of certain challenges, or to even face them, and you bolt. Well, that's your root center. That's a symptom that your root chakra is off. That's your survival center. So if that's misaligned, the water is just sitting at the bottom of the tree, or maybe the bottom of the tree is not getting enough water, or maybe it's getting too much water, etc., and it hasn't moved up the trunk, which is the body, and it hasn't gone to the crown, and it hasn't really helped you. Because remember, most of your gifts are of your third eye, of your crown. We have different chakras in the back of the neck too that basically it's the same thing. It's like the energy, and they teach about this in Kundalini Yoga, the energy from your spine courses up and down. It's like a circulation. It is a circulation of energy throughout your system. That's why when you cross your legs for too long and you start getting kind of tired and you doze off and you just kind of fall asleep, it's because the circulation's flat out cut off. Unless you're crossing your legs in a proper way, such as a monk. They have one foot like this, one foot like this. It's a very specific way of crossing your legs that's actually energetically receptive. Now, that's talking about the root chakra. So the most people do work with the root chakra because people like black tourmaline, and they'll work with crystals such as black tourmaline, and they notice their gifts become open after working with black tourmaline because it helps with the aspect of fear. It stops things from making you scared all the time. It helps you, because if your guides see that you're really scared, and do you think they're going to introduce themselves to you? An angel who is just nothing but light wants to introduce itself to you, but once you actually hear its voice and it starts freaking you out, it's like, voice, and then it's like, oh, this is not very pleasant. This is not how I thought it would go. So you really have to work on that. If everything scares you, you definitely need to work on the root chakra. If you live in fear, work on the root chakra, because that will block your spiritual gifts. Now, let's just say you're lethargic, you're tired, you have no energy, you're completely drained, you're not really wanting to talk to other people, you don't find you don't find life fun, you don't have a love for life, you don't have a love for your passions, you don't have a love for your dreams, your goals, and now you're just not happy, and you don't know why. It's usually because of the sacral chakra. That's where your passions lie, that's where your fire, just the fires of energy and just life and just everything that's good, and the good feelings resonate from that chakra. Because if that energy gets stuck there, you might end up feeling anxious and just sluggish and slow. But once you work with a crystal such as carnelian, or amber is really good as well. Where's my carnelian? I just had my carnelian near me for the video. Oh no. Well, hessonite garnet, which is a good crystal as well, is good for the root chakra. I mean, it's good for the root chakra. It's better for the sacral chakra and solar plexus chakras. Now let's talk about, because these are very important chakras. Like if you have a sick stump and a sick, like if the bottom of the tree is injured, the rest of the tree is going to be really injured as well. And in opening your spiritual gifts, you're required to not be injured because, well, you can be somewhat injured and open your spiritual gifts as long as you're healing. The more you heal, the more you balance your lower chakras, the more that energy and the waters are going to make it to the crown and the third eye and the crown. Keep in mind, you do have gifts in your root chakra as well, so people who have root chakra gifts are going to be more of the people who are able to do certain things with energy. So you'll be able to clear a room just with your energy. When you walk into a room and you wear a certain crystal, everyone's emotions, actions, everything just flat out like changes. Because if you ever wear black tourmaline and you walk in a room, people who have bad things to say to you won't talk because it's a root chakra. It's literally fighting to keep your energy safe. Now with the sacral chakra, if you have no energy and you actually you align your sacral chakra, because that chakra gets really, really, really blocked for most people, and people don't even realize it. And right when people unblock it, they get some interesting surprises and have no idea what's going on. It's like, what are all these feelings in my body? What is this? And then that's exactly what that is. So when you actually put a crystal such as amber or carnelian or orange calcite or muokkite, there's different crystals you can put on your sacral chakra. You'll be like, oh, what are all these feelings? Oh, I don't like this. And you'll have these weird feelings that you've never really had in your entire life, and it'll feel kind of you might feel guilty about the feelings you have because they're very full of pleasure, because that energy has been stuck there and it hasn't moved up to the other chakras, so that it's just a release of energy, and it can be kind of freaky because one of the symptoms is arousal. So basically, you'll open the chakra that has been fully blocked, and you'll feel aroused for no reason. Like, it's literally energetically aroused. It's your passions. You have an arousal for your passions. You have arousal for life. You have basically you're aroused, not that kind of aroused. You are excited. It's literally the excitement chakra. It's like, yeah, let's get going. So if you wear carnelian to the gym, for example, you're going to feel that more passionate about your workouts. And when if something happens, it doesn't really matter because your fire is still there. Carnelian's like that fire. Now, when that energy, and if you ever meditate and you're just like, oh, what is this weird feeling? So you'll have a bunch of like just excitement throughout your body and just weird, strange, tingling feelings. And you're like, I don't like this. It's because... And this happens to a lot of people. The first time it ever happened to me, I got freaked out. I'm like, I don't like this. I'm not going to work on the sacral anymore. And, like, it took me a long time to really start incorporating more orange because now my orange is belts. I have a lot of orange in my belts, and I'm actually putting more orange in different places. Like, this is a piece of carnelian over here. Yay! I'm testing new things because new things that I test have been working. Now, once that energy gets... And remember, the water's at the bottom of the tree. Now they can make it to the rest of the tree. Now you notice different things in your body start happening. Like you're feeling energy differently because you work with your sacral chakra. Now your energetic gifts are open. Now you're being able to enter a room and basically feel the energies without getting completely overwhelmed. And by the way, I'm redoing this, guys. I keep pulling on this necklace all the time. I'm going to redo it. When it comes to the solar plexus chakra, and that's one of the things of an imbalanced sacral chakra is people will flat out feel guilt when working with that chakra. They'll be like, I feel guilty. These feelings are not good. They're not healthy. I'm going to stop right here. And it's natural because that's the blockages in the chakra in the first place. And that's actually the chakra that society blocks the most. So society does not just block what we're trained and what we see on a daily basis. It doesn't just get blocked. It gets completely misconstrued. If I can say words correctly. Misconstrue. Well, I've been working with different throat chakra crystals, so if in the past week or two, if you've been hearing me slur on words, or my voice has been changing a little bit, I've been testing different crystals on my throat chakra from other chakras, and it's been opening some gifts like insane, but it's very awkward. That's one of the symptoms of when you're opening your spiritual gifts, things get super awkward and weird. Now, if you try to open your gifts way too quickly, then you'll find imbalances, such as your head will hurt, or your this will be a mad pressure. That's one of the biggest things with spiritualists, is your head will hurt like crazy if you open gifts a little too fast. That's why they open so slowly, so slowly sometimes. Now, two imbalances of the sacral and solar plexus chakras is when you don't get the energy from over here up here. One of the imbalances you might have is like you might have a burning in your... It's not even a physical burn. It's like an energy burn. It's not physical. This is not physical. You'll feel like an energy burn in your... And you don't even know how to describe it because it's energy. It's like, okay. You go to the... Well, this is not a medical video, but... Disclaimer, this is not medical advice. This is more energy. So you're feeling different energies in your heart and in your solar plexus chakra, and you're like, what's this? And if you don't really properly deal with them, and they're supposed to be, remember, the energy is supposed to be circulating up and down. Your body's a tree. The tree of life. When it gets stuck, it'll feel like a burn. And it means it's not being moved properly, and the flow of your chakra is being thrown off. Well, when these chakras down here are struggling, what do you think is happening up here? These chakras struggle too. When it comes to working with the heart chakra and the solar plexus chakras, because if you don't balance your heart chakra before working with your spiritual gifts, that is the number one chakra you need to get in order to be able to properly order your spiritual gifts. Open your spiritual gifts. Now, when you open your heart chakra, in this order, because remember, everything is in an order when it comes to opening your chakras. You don't pick and choose. So the order of your chakras opening matters. So work on the root, then the sacral, then the solar plexus. And the solar plexus, I just explained, it's the same reason as the sacral chakra, because if the energy gets trapped there, your manifestations are going to be off. So manifestation's a gift as well. So if you're someone who's a master manifester and you notice, less confidence. You're not feeling as vibrant because the sacral and solar plexus chakras go very hand in hand. Your sacral chakra is more about the energies and the passions of life. Well, your solar plexus chakra is more of where your emotions are stored, and that's your powerhouse to your manifestations. And you better believe, and there's a very specific connection between the solar plexus chakra and the throat chakras. It's very interesting how the energy correlation between two chakras go, because literally the words you speak out loud have a very strong connection to the solar plexus and throat chakras, even though they're a little bit of a distance from each other. But remember, it's that important because the energy is flowing up and down. Now, when you, like I said, you have to have your heart chakra in order as well, because if you don't, then everything will be off. You might be completely ungrounded by the time your spiritual gifts open, or when you try to open your gifts, it just feels ungrounding and it's not fun and it's too intense, or you don't feel anything at all. The energies of giving and receiving are not there. The circulation of energies within your chakras will feel completely off if you don't get your heart chakra aligned as well. You just won't feel a harmony. And when you don't feel harmony, when you don't feel a balance, when you don't, especially between giving and receiving, because the heart chakra, they're just like, oh, that's love. No, it's not. It has to do with everything of giving and receiving. It has to do with wealth of energy, so basically giving and receiving. So that's important even when it comes to your angelic guides. So you're talking to your guides, but you don't feel like you're receiving messages. You don't just operate on one chakra alone. So this video is a little advanced because I'm teaching about how different chakras, and the information online is very general. So people will be like, oh, yep, this chakra does this chakra does this. Our body is a lot more advanced than that. Like, our chakras are way more advanced than what online states. We actually have more than 7 chakras. We have a lot more than 7 chakras, not to overwhelm anyone, but we have micro chakras. We have some of the gate chakras in the back of our neck and in the back of our back here. I wish to show you guys my neck one day. If you ever can see my neck, you probably can't because there's so many crystals on there. Plus, there's crystals back there you guys don't really even know about, including some very holy crystals. But when it comes to your throat chakra, that's a very important chakra to have opened. So for people who would like their spiritual gifts opened, I highly recommend chokers, because once the crystals are literally touching this chakra like this is a choker. Well, as much of a choker as I prefer. Once it goes directly on that chakra, it empowers it. People's throat chakras get very weak very often, and it relates to your throat chakra is where your clairaudience begins. That's where you're able to physically hear your angels with your ears, and that's how you're able to actually hear your guides inside sometimes inside your head, depends, but mainly outside of your head. So clairaudience resonates. Depends if it's subjective or objective. Like I said, I don't want you guys getting stuck on the terminology too much, but when you go up the chakras, such as the third eye, and the crown, and the higher crown, you have to have the lower chakras in order. So people will just try to work on their lower chakra. Just try to work on the higher chakras and flat out neglect the lower chakras and be like, why aren't they opening? It's because you're neglecting chakras. That's it. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!